Israel-Hamas war live. Fear grips southern Gaza amid Israeli bombardment. Palestinian boy carrying a baby stands at the site of Israeli attacks in Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip. Israel ramps up attacks across the Gaza Strip, including near hospitals and in the south of besieged enclave where ground operation is intensifying. Israel's indiscriminate bombardment of Palestinian civilians in southern Gaza has reached new depths, Norwegian Refugee Council chief warns. The Palestine Red Crescent says it lost contact with its teams after telecommunications services cut off in Gaza amid Israeli bombings. At least 15,899 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7th. In Israel, the official death toll stands at about 1,200. Of course, they changed that from 1,400 to 1,200. UN warns of even more hellish scenario unfolding in Gaza. The UN reports that Israel launched one of its heaviest air, land, and sea bombardments of the Gaza Strip over Sunday and Monday, killing at least 349 Palestinians, injuring more than 750 according to the territory's health ministry. With Israeli ground operations now focused on southern Gaza, conditions do not exist to deliver aid. The UN's humanitarian coordinator for the occupied Palestinian territories, Lynn Hastings, said, warning that an even more hellish scenario is about to unfold in the Palestinian enclave, according to the UN's latest Gaza assessment. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs also reports Rafah was the only location in Gaza where limited aid, flour, and water was distributed on Monday, while distributions in nearby Khan Yunis have all but ceased due to the intensity of fighting. Tens of thousands of Palestinians fleeing Khan Yunis for Rafah have nowhere to stay and are camping in the streets and other outdoor areas where they erect tents and makeshift shelters. All telecommunications services in Gaza were cut on Monday evening, and aid organizations fear the lack of communications will further hamper the provision of life-saving assistance. So they tell them to go south, and now they're attacking the south. I mean, there's just nowhere for these people to really go at this point. Can't imagine the hell these people are going through. Thanks, Christian Zionists, for your help and with the Zionist state, helping them with their propaganda bullshit about the rapture and how we need to bow down before Israel no matter what. But your fellow brethren, many of them Palestinians or Christian, are suffering horribly. And a lot of it is helped, aided and abetted by the garbage propaganda you Christian Zionists spew. So, thank you, John Hagee. So, the BBC has also verified images of an Israeli tank operating near the city. The head of the Israel Defense Forces later told troops the IDF was also fighting strongly and thoroughly in South Gaza. Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, Halevi, was speaking to reservists from the Gaza division about military objectives and the IDF's killing of Hamas commanders. Right. He told the soldiers, "We fought strongly and thoroughly in the northern Gaza Strip, and we are also doing it now in the southern Gaza Strip." An IDF spokesman later confirmed Israel continues to expand the ground incursion across all of Gaza, including troops conducting face-to-face battles with terrorists. Since a week-long ceasefire ended on Friday, Israel has resumed a large-scale bombing campaign on Gaza, which residents of Khan Yunis have described as the heaviest wave of attacks so far. The 7-day truce saw Hamas release 110 hostages, and I just question this whole Hamas and hostages deal. Something that's just, I don't know. I could be wrong. But something with that tells me that a lot of that is staged quite a bit. And it's just a show. Like I said, I could be wrong though. Regardless, whether they staged the attack or not, they did allow this to happen. I'm going to guarantee that. They let this happen so they can, genocide those people over there. Because they are sick, psychotic, satanic pieces of shit. The 7-day truce saw Hamas release 110 hostages being held in Gaza in return for 240 Palestinians being released from Israeli prisons. On Sunday morning, the Israeli army issued evacuation orders for several districts of Khan Yunis, urging people to leave immediately. Israeli authorities believe members of the Hamas leadership are hiding in the city. They're just going to keep on saying that while they just bomb the shit out of these people and kill them. They're just going to keep saying, well, we're just, we're trying to get Hamas. They're hiding in these areas. It's just bullshit. Everyone, the world stage is watching them. So they have to have this propaganda with them. Where hundreds of thousands of people have been sheltering after fleeing fighting in the north in the early stages of the war, a UN official has described a degree of panic he has not seen before in a Gaza hospital after the Israeli military shifted the focus of its offensive to the south. James Elder from the children's agency UNICEF described Nasser Medical Hospital in Khan Yunis as a war zone. An advisor to Israel's prime minister said Israel is making maximum effort to avoid killing civilians. That is such a joke. Oh boy, these guys are professional liars. Mr. Elder told the BBC he could hear constant large explosions close to the Nasser hospital, and children were arriving with head injuries, terrible burns, and shrapnel from recent blasts. It's a hospital I've gone to regularly, and the children know me now. The families know me now. Those same people are grabbing my hand or grabbing my shirt saying, please take us somewhere safe. Where is safe? They are unfortunately asking a question to which the only answer is there is nowhere safe, and that includes for them as they know that hospital, he said. The Hamas-run health ministry, all these, mainstream news, orgs are whenever they refer to the health ministry over there, Hamas-run. Hamas don't run shit. Israel runs Hamas. Guarantee it. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 500 people have been killed since the bombing resumed. But they're not trying to kill anybody. You see how just this mind screw works? At one side of their mouth, we're not trying to kill anybody. And, the other side of their mouth, 500 people, we're at 15,000 now? Yeah, more than 15,500 people have been killed in the strip since the war began. All they have to do is keep saying the Hamas-run health ministry, as if that makes any difference. We know with how horrific the bombings are over there that a lot of fucking people are dead. And a lot of those people are Christians. And I say that, there's a lot of good people who aren't Christians there that are dying, but I'm just making a point that these dumbass Christian Zionist dupes who, listen to the John Hagees and those televangelist puke faces, frauds, have no fucking clue. They're clueless. And they are cheering, many of them, the brutal massacring of their own brethren over there, over Antichrist Zionist Jews and their genocidal campaign against these people. Mohammed Galayini, and I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, a British Palestinian who has stayed in Gaza, said the situation in the city was beyond catastrophic. People have been for 50 days or more withstanding brutal Israeli onslaught and are very low on all resources, food, water, power, and the sanitation and the waste services, he told the BBC by phone before the connection cut off. The air pollution expert, who normally lives in Manchester, arrived in Gaza for a 3-month visit to see his mother shortly before the October 7th attacks. Israel began its retaliatory bombing of Gaza following Hamas attacks on southern Israel on October 7th, which saw around 1,200 people killed and 240 hostages taken. Again, a lot of that just be bullshit, false flag. Rockets have also been regularly fired at Israel from Gaza since fighting resumed on Friday. So, okay, Gaza, aid access to north entirely blocked as war escalates in the south. This is not good at all. There's going to be a retaliation on the likes that you've never seen. Hold on a moment. My dog. You Bella, lay down. Get kind of warm. I'm going to turn on this fan. Sorry. But anyways, yeah, this is going to lead, if this keeps on going, it'll probably lead to some violent escalation, World War III. I mean, it's the last thing we need, I don't even feel like celebrating Christmas this year, I just don't feel like celebrating while my tax dollars are going over to inflict misery on a bunch of people who are innocent. Most are innocent. Have nothing to do with that creature of Israel, Hamas. Interesting about Hamas. I think it's Hamas constitution. Or is it the Hamas covenant? Yeah, I want to read it from here. Excerpts from the Hamas covenant. There, it was not the Constitution, but covenant. Now, you got to remember, this is what they do. They create controlled opposition, and this controlled opposition has a manifesto or a covenant, or, they might do some speeches if it's like a dictatorship that they put in that acts like that dictatorship is against the very forces. Kind of like what they did with Hitler, a lot of the same forces that, Hitler claimed he was fighting actually put him in power. To really kind of set up the country they were wanting to destroy, because Hitler was the perfect controlled opposition puppet that led to the destruction of Germany. They needed a boogeyman that was going to act like Germany's savior, but wind up, betraying the very country he was claiming to defend. Our struggle against the Jews is very great and very serious. It needs all sincere efforts. The Islamic resistance movement is but one squadron that should be supported until the enemy is vanquished and Allah's victory is realized. It strives to raise the banner of Allah over every inch of Palestine. It is one of the links in the chain of the struggle against the Zionist invaders. The Prophet Allah, bless him and grant him salvation, has said the day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews. You know, it's that same end time bullshit that the Christian Zionists and the radical Judaic supremacist Kabbalists push. You know, we have to get the end times started. The day of judgment is not going to come until, you know, we blow that Dome of the Rock up and build that third temple, or you know, whatever. You know, but it's just it's psych warfare at its worst. These Abrahamic religions are just nothing but controlled opposition, psych warfare to keep people divided and warring with each other. I'm sorry to say it, but the truth of Christianity might be a different story if the New Testament was actually interpreted right. But unfortunately, they co-opted that, hijacked it, and they're now using it as part of their Armageddon end times psyop. That New Ager, can't think of his name, comes out with the book, The Armageddon Script. But anyways, I'll continue reading. The day of judgment, the Prophet Allah has said the day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews, killing the Jews. When the Jew will hide behind stones and trees, the stones and trees will say, O Muslims, O Abdullah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. There is no solution for the Palestine question except through jihad. Initiatives, proposals, international conferences are all a waste of time and vain endeavors. Palestine is an Islamic land. Zionist organizations under various names and shapes such as Freemasons, Rotary clubs, espionage groups, and others are all nothing more than cells of subversion and saboteurs. I couldn't agree more. The Islamic peoples should perform their role in confronting the conspiracies of these saboteurs. But you see, this is where, you know, the controlled opposition. This is how controlled opposition works. They create these groups that act like they're against them. And then they, for the very purpose of making these organizations like terrorists, and then the terrorists will write stuff like this, or, you know, so that way they can begin linking people like me and other people that do talk about the Freemasons and these secret societies as being subversive, as, you know, possibly being domestic terrorists, because that's eventually what they want to do. They want to label me, they want to label, you know, all people that talk about these subjects as potential domestic terrorists, and you know, criminalize our free speech. They succeeded in certain subjects concerning, like the you know, the whole Sandy Hook ordeal, at least on the social media thing, or, you know, if you question the Holocaust, the official narrative of the Holocaust. Not saying it totally didn't happen, but, you know, there's a lot of questions. If you actually look into the subject, in some countries, especially in Germany or whatnot, you can get jail time for publicly questioning the Holocaust. So that's what they eventually want to do with all this stuff. They want to make it a crime. Muslim society confronts a vicious enemy which acts in a very way similar to Nazism. He has deprived people of their homeland. In their Nazi treatment, the Jews made no exception for women or children. Our enemies took control of the world media. They were behind the French Revolution and the Communist Revolution. They were behind World War I when they were able to destroy the Islamic Caliphate, making financial gains and controlling resources. They obtained the Balfour Declaration, formed a League of Nations through which they could rule the world. They were behind World War II, through which they made huge financial gains by trading in armaments. I might not have any audio because I forgot to turn off my Bluetooth. If I still have audio on this, I'm just going to go ahead and stop this and make a part 2 of this. So hold on.